I'm sorry, 50 seconds. I don't know what I'm doing. One.
Can you give me 115?
Mm-hmm. $1.15. $1.30.
In Max Berry's novel Company, he describes a young worker who enters this fictitious company that is extremely odd in that the people who work in human relations seem only to deal with those in the corporation, and then those who deal with sales seem only to sell with those, again, in the corporation. Though the mixed messages he receives from the upper levels defines to him an odd amount of workings going on in the corporation or the company. And it is through this that he realizes that he is responding differently than his coworkers, who simply go through mindless, accepting what has been given to them, and not really questioning the status quo. Jones, however, ultimately achieves success because he chooses to question the odd workings of this corporation. And we find that despite the equal amount of intelligence that he and his coworkers had, it was the response that he gave to the situation that differed him from those around him. So when looking to today's quotation by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who states you can't win unless you learn how to lose, we find that what Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is saying is that it is the responses we give to situations that are key, that everyone will lose, but unless we learn how to lose, then we can't win. Until we learn how to lose, only then we can win. And I agree with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for two main reasons. First, because mistakes are inevitable, and second, responses to mistakes lead to positive responses to mistakes lead to success. Initially, we must understand that mistakes themselves are inevitable. To understand this best, we can first look to Fermat's last theorem, and second, Joseph Schumpeter's creative destruction. Initially, when looking to Fermat's last theorem, we find that in the 1800s, French mathematician Pierre de Fermat came up with a theorem which no one could solve, nor could read his work because he wrote it in the margins of a book. From this, we find that over the next few centuries, mathematicians attempted to solve the theorem, and in 1990, British mathematician Andrew White said that he had solved it after 10 years of private study. Turns out, he was wrong. Despite the intensive amounts of labor he had put into solving Pierre de Fermat's theorem, he came out with several key mistakes in the last year of his work, and it was not until further collaboration with others that it was ultimately found to be successful. But what we find is even at the brilliance of the upper echelons of mathematicians, the mistakes they made can always occur. Despite 10 years of study, the few mistakes he made in his last year led to the ultimate downfall of his proposal. Furthermore, looking at Joseph Schumpeter's theory of creative destruction, he states that society progresses with its innovation, moving from simple technologies to more advanced ones. Now, what Joseph Schumpeter points out is that when innovation and technologies or ideas advance, it is because of the key failings in the previous one. For instance, when the Walmart model is now seeming to be falling to the higher quality model, we see that the issue is in the Walmart model of lots of products but low quality control, there's an inherent flaw in the system. So what we find is that no matter what successful innovation society finds, there was always a flaw that is then found by the next level and continued forward as society progresses. Furthermore, having understood that the mistakes we made are inevitable, we must also understand it is the responses we give to these mistakes that then result in how we lead to success. First, we can understand this by looking to Henry Cavendish, and second, looking to the novel Jennifer Government. Initially, looking to Henry Cavendish, we find he himself was a British scientist, physicist in fact, who was extremely introspective in his work. He was extremely unique in that he didn't really publish any of his papers, nor did he really tell people what he did. However, what we find is that the responses he gave to the situations were resultant from early mistakes he had made, that he wanted to prevent future. Henry Cavendish wanted to prevent the future inspection of, I can't finish this one, Todd.
Yeah, you can.
Henry Cavendish's response to the earlier mistakes he had made resulted in him going into private, inclusive study. However, this private study led him to find out properties of physics far before many of his contemporaries, who later became far more famous and successful than him. What we find is the personal response Cavendish gave was one that allowed him to reach success before many of his contemporaries. Furthermore, looking to the novel Jennifer Government, we encounter a society which is depicted with capitalism to a gross degree, where people have no freedom, or where people have ultimate freedom but no security net. The unique part of this novel is that the main character, Jennifer Government, is the one agent who chooses to stand apart from the rest, responding not by simply giving up her security, but fighting for it, responding to the totalitarian regimes, and actually working towards getting security and freedom for all. The response she gives, unique from the others around her, lead to the ultimate success of the society. So when looking to today's quotation, "You can't win unless you learn how to lose" by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, we find he's saying it is the responses that matter. And we understand why this is correct, because we first find mistakes or losses are inevitable, and second, positive responses ultimately lead to success.
You've done better.